Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something really powerful. We're taking wisdom from, well, all over the place. Stoic philosophy, Rumi's poetry, Aesop's fables, even practical life guides.
Yeah, real mix.
And the goal, to stitch it all together into a kind of roadmap for what these sources call authentic living.
Exactly. It's less about just, abstract self-help and more like finding an operating system for your actual daily life.
An operating system, I like that.
If you feel like you're just sort of existing, these ideas give you the framework, the shifts in thinking, the habits you need to build real internal strength that actually move forward. We want to figure out the how of being truly alive.
Okay, so where do we start? What's step one in this operating system?
Well, the sources agree. It begins with a fundamental choice about how you see yourself. There's this core idea: life is only life when you are truly living.
Right, but how do you get there? From just existing to truly living?
It starts with this question: do you relate to your own potential, your greatness? Or do you focus mostly on your limitations, your weaknesses?
That feels like a big fork in the road.
It really is. Because
Right.
if you constantly identify with, say, past mistakes or what others think you can't do, you're basically putting a ceiling on your own future.
You limit yourself from the start.
Precisely. But choosing greatness, that means tapping into this limitless internal resource. And that's where Rumi comes in so practically. He wrote, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop."
Wow, okay, that's a beautiful line, but the entire ocean. How does that work on a, stressful Tuesday afternoon? What does that actually look like?
It changes your inner dialogue massively,
Yeah.
especially when things get tough.
How so?
Well, if you're stuck in the weakness mindset, a setback feels like proof you're just not good enough. You try something hard and the voice inside says, "See, I can't do this."
Which just makes you want to give up.
Right? It literally shuts down the creative parts of your brain. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You expect to fail, so you do.
Okay, so the ocean mindset, the greatness mindset, it changes how you talk to yourself about failure.
Exactly. With the Rumi principle, the script flips. It becomes, okay, I haven't mastered this yet, but I can learn. I'm capable of growing into this.
The yet is crucial.
It's everything. It turns failure from a dead end into like an active learning moment. One view sees a wall, the other sees a runway. You're choosing self-efficacy, basically, instead of just staying stuck.
Okay. Choose greatness. Be the ocean, not the drop. Got it. But as soon as you try to actually do that to expand, you bump into other people, right? Our environment.
Yeah, that's the next hurdle.
And sometimes that environment, it pushes back. Which brings us to this really interesting story about President Harry Truman.
Ah, the mispronunciation.
Yes, his biographer noticed Truman often mispronounced words. Not simple words, but complex ones.
And the insight wasn't that he was ignorant, it was the opposite.
Right. He'd read these words, pushing his boundaries intellectually, but he hadn't often heard them or said them out loud. He was operating beyond his comfort zone.
It's such a brilliant observation. The mispronunciation wasn't weakness. It was proof of intellectual courage. He was wrestling with ideas outside his normal vocabulary.
He cared more about learning than sounding perfect.
Exactly. And that ability to, stumble over a word, it shows you're trying something new, something difficult.
So the lesson from the sources here is what? That our homes, our relationships need to be safe spaces for that.
Absolutely critical. Safe places for the mispronunciation of words, for trying a new skill badly at first, for sharing an idea that isn't fully formed yet.
Because if people get mocked or punished for that vulnerability,
You kill the growth engine.
Mhm.
Simple as that. Nobody wants to be vulnerable if the price is ridicule.
Which leads right into this idea of the social cost of growth. Aesop nailed this centuries ago, didn't he?
He did. People often grudge others what they cannot enjoy themselves. There's a deep psychological truth there you really need to grasp.
Explain that. Why do we grudge others?
Well, think about it. If someone else is brave enough to try something new, maybe they stumble, they mispronounce the word, they start a business that struggles initially.
Okay.
And if we, watching them, have been too afraid to take that kind of risk ourselves, their attempt can actually highlight our own inaction. It makes us feel insecure.
So instead of feeling inspired, we feel threatened.
Threatened or maybe just uncomfortable, defensive. And a common defense mechanism is to pull them back down, to mock their effort. It validates our own choice to play it safe.
And it often comes disguised as just teasing, right?
Exactly. That's the insidious part.
Yeah.
Now, the sources are clear. There's healthy teasing. Inside jokes, busting each other's chops in a loving way that builds bonds.
Sure, that's different.
But there's a line. And the destructive kind of mockery attacks the attempt itself. It attacks the vulnerability required for growth.
So how do you tell the difference in the moment between friendly teasing and mocking the attempt?
You look at the target. Is the teasing about a shared funny memory? Or is it aimed squarely at the effort, the awkwardness of trying something new? Like mocking someone's first painting or their shaky business plan.
That stifles the potential.
Completely. Remember Emerson, every artist was first an amateur. If you make fun of the amateur stage, you might just prevent the master from ever emerging. How you react to someone else's attempt actually shapes the whole culture of growth around you.
Okay, so we need to protect growth in ourselves and others. But resisting that urge to mock, or even just conforming, that takes inner strength. Which brings us to the next piece. Building that strength so you don't need external validation. How do you become, well, impervious?
Right. How do you build that inner resilience? For this, we really lean into Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius gave us this incredible metaphor.
The fortress.
The fortress. He said the mind freed from passions is an impenetrable fortress. It's the most secure place you can retreat to.
An impenetrable fortress sounds amazing. But what exactly are these passions he talks about? Is it just like not feeling anything?
No, not at all. That's a common misconception about Stoicism. When Aurelius says passions, he means disruptive, irrational emotions. The ones usually tied to external things you can't control.
Like what?
Like excessive fear of the future, getting completely derailed by grief, uncontrolled anger, or that constant anxiety about what other people think. Things outside your direct influence.
Ah, okay. So the fortress isn't about blocking out the world.
Not at all. It's about ensuring the chaos of the world doesn't dictate your internal state. You remain steady inside, regardless of the storm outside.
Okay, makes sense. So how do you build it, this fortress? Is it a one-time decision?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It's built through practice. Constant, deliberate repetition until the desired way of thinking and responding becomes automatic, unconscious.
Automatic, like muscle memory.
Exactly like muscle memory. That's why the sources connect Aurelius to Bruce Lee. You know the quote.
The 10,000 kicks one.
That's the one. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times.
Okay, but Lee's talking about physical kicks. We're talking about mental habits, patience, courage. How does the 10,000 times thing apply there?
The mechanism is identical. It's about building unconscious competence. Every time you face a situation where your old default, maybe a destructive one, wants to kick in.
Like getting angry when criticized.
Perfect example. Your default is anger. The practice, the one kick, is consciously choosing a different response. Pause. Breathe. Analyze the criticism objectively, maybe.
That sounds hard, especially the first few times.
It is hard at first, agonizing maybe, but the 100th time, easier. The 1,000th, even easier. The 10,000th time, you don't have to choose anymore. Your automatic response is the calm analysis, not the snap anger. You've laid a brick in the fortress.
Can you give another really concrete daily example? How does this training work day to day?
Sure. Think about complaining versus gratitude. It's a mental habit. If you constantly practice finding things to complain about, the traffic, the weather, you're training your brain to scan for negativity, that becomes your default.
You get good at complaining.
You get really good at it. And it generates stress hormones. But conversely, if you consciously practice finding one small thing to appreciate in that same situation, even tiny play, you're practicing a default gratitude response. You're laying those bricks.
You're training resilience instead of negativity.
Precisely. And the crucial point here is you are always training yourself with every repeated thought and action. Always. The only question is what you are training yourself to become.
Wow. That reframes everything. Every little moment is a training opportunity. That kind of internal discipline, that sounds like real power.
It is. But it's important to distinguish this internal strength from, say, external power over others. The sources note something interesting, that external power attracts the corruptible.
Meaning people who want power often aren't. Well, solid inside.
Often, yes. Whereas people who are already internally strong, sane, as one source puts it, they're usually drawn to other things, purpose, connection, growth. External power can sometimes be about compensating for an internal lack, a need for control, because you don't feel in control inside.
So trying to control others might actually signal a lack of self-control.
It often does. The strength built in the fortress, though, that comes from inner abundance, from earned character. There's that line about a man who treats his partner with consistent respect and security.
Yes, the proof that he has been raised by a queen.
Right. That behavior isn't an external show, it's an internal standard.
Mm.
It's rooted in who he is, built through practice, not something he does to compensate for insecurity. It's self-mastery.
Okay, so the big picture is choose greatness, Rumi,
Okay.
protect the growth process, Truman and Aesop, build the inner fortress through repetition, Aurelius and Lee. That's the philosophy.
Yeah.
But philosophy can feel overwhelming.
Absolutely. Analysis paralysis is real.
Right, you see this huge goal, build a fortress, live authentically, and you just freeze. Where do you even start?
And that's where Mark Twain comes in with just incredibly practical advice. He basically gave us two secrets. Secret number one, the secret to getting ahead is getting started. Secret number two, the secret to getting started is breaking complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks, and then starting on the first one.
It sounds almost too simple.
Maybe, but think about the psychology. It bypasses the overwhelm. You stop looking at the whole mountain. You just focus on picking up the first small pebble.
You make the daunting future into one tiny action right now.
Exactly. It's not about one giant heroic leap. It's about consistency, relentless, ordinary consistency. And this ties straight back to the fortress building.
How so? How does breaking down tasks connect to Aurelius? Are these small tasks the bricks?
They absolutely are. The sources say extraordinary results don't come from extraordinary actions, usually. They come from taking ordinary steps every day in the right direction.
Baby steps move mountains.
That's the idea. And it's not just about achieving the big goal eventually. That act of consistently taking those small steps day after day that builds the character, it builds the discipline, it builds the fortress itself. Small steps make consistency possible.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. For someone listening right now, what's the takeaway? We've covered the whole framework. Rumi's choice for greatness, protecting vulnerability like Truman did, building the Stoic fortress with repetition, and using Twain's small steps to beat overwhelm.
It all points to one thing, really. Urgency. You can't put authentic living on hold. You can't wait for the right time.
The sources have that call to action, don't they?
Yes, the powerful one. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? Stepping up, choosing the better response, acting on your potential. It has to start with the very next choice you make. Not tomorrow, now.
So building this life isn't about waiting for some big crisis or epiphany.
Not at all. It's a campaign of small decisions, small practices, small acts of courage.
That really lands. The fortress isn't built in some dramatic siege.
No, it's built brick by brick, day by day, through what you choose to practice. Which leads us to a final thought for you to take away. What's one behavior, maybe something positive, courageous, disciplined, that aligns with the fortress you want to build? What's one behavior you'll consciously practice not just once, but twice today? Just focus on that repetition. That's your building material.